Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am telling the worst story of my life. You probably saw the title. I'm gonna tell you a story about my bitch ass fucking cunt ass idiot ass coach that I had. This video is also not like a bashing video. Well, I mean, I'm just telling you what happened, but I'm not trying to bash anyone. I'm not trying to get anyone fired. It's all just fun and games. I'm telling this for shits and giggles only. If my coach watches this video and tries to get me expelled, which she will because she's not going to be happy about this video, I'm just telling what happened. This might be, a made-up story. She can't really blame me for any of this, but this is what happened to me, and if she tries to get me expelled, too fucking bad for you because I just want to tell her the truth. Okay, let's get into the video. I'm gonna tell this story kind of anonymously because I do not want to get literally expelled. I don't want people to hunt her down. I don't want people to attack her. I just want to tell what the fuck happened, and I've said that a million times. Let's go. I'm not gonna give you guys the sport or the time span over when this happened because then you guys would figure it out, and I don't want people to fucking go and attack her. I just want to tell what the fuck happened. So basically, the first time that I met this coach, she already gave me bad vibes. Like, the first time that I met her, I was like, oh, this bitch is, she gave me weird vibes because, first of all, she was, like, she wanted everyone to think that she was so great at everything. So she would, like, list, like, oh yeah, I can do this. I used to be able to do this, like, all this shit. And we were like, okay, like, this is our first team meeting. Like, why are you telling us this? Like, okay, we get it. And from the beginning, she also, like, she told us all, like, you guys, like, you're my girls, like, you can talk to me about anything, like, I'm your coach, but I'm also, like, your sister. Before the season started, even, she had gotten her opinion of me already. She knew that I was working with YouTube. She knew who I was, like, I feel like she kind of, like, did research on me. Like, yeah, I'm very much like I am on my videos. In reality, I have something in my eye. But you can't really form an entire opinion, and especially, like, if you're a coach and a student or whatever, like, player. And she would always be like, oh, yeah, I've had so many, like, Russian coaches. Like, I'm not, like, one of those. Like, I'm not, like, one of those crazy coaches. Like, I'm such a nice coach. Like, I'm your sister. You can talk to me about anything. And then one other thing that would make me, like, low-key weirded out was that she would literally get so mad if you didn't call her Coach blank. Like, let's say her name was Kelly. Like, she would be so mad if we didn't call her Coach Kelly. Like, before the season started and we just, like, kind of got together and stuff, I remember specifically one time, one of my teammates was like, hey, Kelly, and she was like, Coach Kelly, you do not call me Kelly. And I was like, okay, so she's trying to make herself, like, some fucking god. Like, you have to call me Coach Kelly or else you're gonna get kicked out the team, basically. No, but she was, like, so weird. But then on the other side, she would be like, I'm on the same level as you guys. Like, I'm, like, your sister. Like, on one side, she would be, like, this god for us, and we needed to obey her at every single fucking thing. And then on the other side, she would tell us that we could literally talk to her about, like, our boy problems or girl problems or, whatever, gendered problems. But she would... Oh my god, you get it. Before all of the practices started happening and the season started, she had already kind of made us kind of weirded out. This is the level of petty that she was. She would literally call me. One time we were sitting, like, doing our thing. We're sitting and chilling around in this circle. And while we could, like, chat around and stuff, and we were talking about shopping. And I said something like, oh, like, my new shoes are coming in today, or some shit like that. I can't even remember what we talked about. And she literally goes, okay, little Miss Superstar. And I was like, alright. And all the other team girls are, like, sitting there, like, chilling, like, okay, what the fuck? Like, that's the kind of petty she was. Like, she would talk about my money and talk about, like, my successes like she was, like, jealous or some shit. But I mean, that sounds so fucking, like, oh my god, I have so much money. Like, no, that's not what I'm trying to imply. But she was just like, little Miss Superstar, little Miss, shit like that. And it would make me so mad that she would say those things. That's not really crucial to any of the story that I'm about to tell you. This was all just, like, pre-everything. So she would call me, like, Little Miss Superstar. She would literally be so nasty to me. And then she would be so weird to the other girls and be so fucking rude. I can't with this bitch. Well, I hate her. If you watch this, I hate you. I'm so fucking sorry. Okay, so in our team, we had one girl, which was Coach's favorite. Like, it was her favorite. And we all knew it. They were, like, literally, yeah. Our coach would literally, like, kiss her ass all the time. Like, eat her fucking ass, like, every single goddamn day. And the thing is, I don't hate the girl. Like, I don't hate the girl because the coach literally chose her as her favorite before the season even started. And from then on, she was just Coach's bitch. So let's just call her Emma. So Emma was Coach's bitch from the beginning. I don't fucking know how that worked. She was just, you know, her bitch. So a couple weeks before we went to another place, it could be a competition, it could be a tournament, it could be a camp, it could be, I'm not gonna tell you what it is because this might be a made-up story, Coach, if you're watching. But we had a group chat with all the girls on the team except for Coach, just like to be like, oh, do we have practice today? Oh, like these things, just so we can talk like team members together. Not that Coach wasn't like supposed to see the things we said in there. It was just so we can like talk, you know what I mean? So one day we were talking about how Coach was behaving because, you know, none of us really felt comfortable talking to her about it. Like, we feel like you're acting like a bitch, like, because all the team members were like feeling like she was talking down to us, and she would be like, to me, one time we were doing something and I hurt my shoulder really badly. Now, I have done this sport before. I have done this sport many, many years before I even went to this team. So I know what it feels like to fuck up your body parts due to this sport. So one time I literally hit my shoulder so bad and I feel like it like jumped out of the socket, right? So I was holding my shoulder up and I'm like screaming to Coach, like, Coach, get over it. I think I just like, you know, like fucked up my shoulder. She literally says this: you're fine. Don't even worry about it. You're such a baby. And I'm sitting there like, bitch, like, what if I literally pop my fucking shoulder out of my socket? Like, what the fuck? So basically, another person, like a girl from far away, she wasn't on the team, like a grown-up, like an adult. She came over, she's like, are you okay? Like, do you want me to help you? And Coach literally goes like this: she's fine. She's just being a drama queen. And I'm standing there holding up my shoulder thinking that I popped it out of my socket. I didn't say anything. I was like staring at her. I was like, what the fuck? And then so I let my shoulder go, and good, you know, good for me that I didn't actually pop it out of my socket, but I fucked up my shoulder and it hurt so bad, like months after this happened. So she would do this to like everyone to our team. She would be so nasty to everyone on our team. She would like talk down to us and then be like, oh, but I'm at the same level as you guys, like, you know, I'm like you, I'm your sister, like, and then she would do this, and we're like, okay. So we talked about it in our group chat, like, I don't know, I don't feel comfortable with how Coach is, like, coaching us. I don't feel comfortable with how she's talking down to us and shit like that, and her behavior was just such a teenager to me, and keep in mind, she's an adult woman. Like, she's a mother. So I'm like, okay. So, specifically, I was out of town when this happened, so I didn't actually participate that much in the group chat. But so one of the girls on our team was talking in the group chat, and she was saying how, you know, I don't feel comfortable with how Coach is talking to us. I feel like she's talking down to us, and basically just explaining her point of view. She wasn't bashing Coach at all. She wasn't doing any of this like in a bad way. She was just kind of telling, you know, I don't feel comfortable talking to Coach, and even though Coach is like, oh my god, talk to me about anything, talk to me about your, like, if you're constipated, I don't fucking know, like, she would talk, like, say shit like that, but then act like such a bitch. So she was, the hypocrisy behind it was just like crazy to me. So anyway, so while she's saying all of this, everyone's like kind of like, yeah, I agree, but this one girl would lead all the arguments and kind of just like write in paragraphs of how she was feeling. So basically, as she's writing all of this, the girl that's Coach's favorite, Emma, screenshots all of this shit and sends it to Coach. Now, she did this. I don't hate Emma. I'm, like, really close friends with Emma, so that's no hate towards Emma. I know she's gonna watch this video. I love you, girl. But, like, she made Emma do such weird things, and Coach would ask her for, like, oh, do this, do this, do this. So I think that she didn't, like, Emma didn't do this because she's a bad person. I feel like Coach did it, like, made her do it because she was her favorite and she was her bitch and whatever. So she sends it to Coach. And I'm not really participating in the group chat, so I'm seeing all the things that they're writing, and then all of a sudden it all stops. And like 10 minutes later, the same girl that had led all the arguments goes, coach just kicked me off the team because I said and explained my point of view and expressed her opinion. And in that moment, I was like, okay, so coach literally tells us, tell me if I'm acting weird, and like tell me how I am as a coach, and you know, we need to communicate, like all these things. And then she literally kicks one girl off the team because she expressed her point of view. Like, that shit's fucked up to me. So that made me, like, even more salty at her and made me question her behavior. If you're a coach and you can't take somebody criticizing you, that to me is such a red fucking flag. So in that moment, I was like, oh, this bitch, I'm not fucking with her. So the next thing is that coach, like I said, I've done this sport many years before. And I was the only one who had done this sport before in our team. So basically, I'm a veteran, I'm a veteran, hey. And I take great pride in that, but all my other team members, that was their first time doing the sport. So basically, we needed to go from the base. Like, we needed to start at the bottom and start from the bottom, now we here. And I was the only one that knew how to do it. So basically, coach would always, this is what she said to my face. She would always be like, I'm so happy you're on my team. I'm so happy we have somebody that knows what they're doing. And behind my back, she would talk shit about me bragging about the sport. So, like, how much I knew and shit like that. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm not a braggy person. Like, fucking what? And then second of all, tell it to my face. Who the hell is an adult person, is an adult, and goes around talking shit about their team? Like, what? When we're doing something new or something like that, she would always ask me, Sasha, can you do this? And I'd be like, yeah, I can, or no, I can't. But when I would say, yes, I can, she would be like, oh, show us, show us. So I would show it to the group and be like, okay, this is how you do it, whatever. And she'd be like, good job, Sasha. And then she would go home and talk shit with Emma, her favorite, about how much I'm bragging and how much I'm, like, bragging about how much I know about this sport and how good I am at this sport. So she's acting like a fucking teenager, and she's our coach. And to me, that was just like, when I found out that she had done that, I was like questioning literally everything in my life. I was like, okay, so this is fucking weird. Then she would also, like I said, because I was a veteran in this sport, I still am, she would also tell us to do things wrongly. Is that even a word? Wrong. I don't fucking know. So when we would do something new that she would tell us about, I would notice that she would do and explain them in a way that I didn't know and that I didn't, like, recognize. And I mean, they're not necessarily, to me, they weren't necessarily, or they couldn't have been necessarily wrong, but in this instance they were. Like, I know a lot of people do things differently, but the things that she was explaining to us were wrong, like blatantly wrong. And I would just be like, kind of looking like weirdly at, like, okay, this is kind of wrong, she's explaining this wrong, this is not how you do it, this is not how I was taught. But at the same time, I would always give her the benefit of the doubt that, you know, maybe different people do it differently, whatever. So one time we were doing something and I asked her, oh, like, I thought, like, excuse me, coach, fucking royalty, I thought this is how you did it, or this is how I did it, I just, like, am confused about how you do it. And she would get so mad at me every time. She'd be like, no, this is how I do it, and you're gonna obey me. Literally like that, in that tone. Like, okay, Mrs. Royalty Queen. So that leads me into the actual thing when we were gonna go somewhere. So, remember how I told you with the group chat, like, this was a couple of weeks before the group chat when all this went down. This took place over months and months and months. And so after the entire incident with, oh, I thought this is how you did it, like, oh, I just do it a different way kind of thing, and she got mad at me, we went as a team to a camp, and we, you know, were learning different things. There were other coaches there, and we actually did the thing, like, the thing that our coach had told us about and taught us wrong, okay? So we were there and we were doing the thing and we got help from another coach, and I asked her if you do it this way that I was taught. And she said, yeah, that's how you do it. And I said, oh, okay, so my actual coach tells us to do it this way. And she said, no, that's wrong. That's not how you do it, whatever. And I'd be like, oh, okay. Maybe people learn different things, you know, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. And then our coach comes over and sees us doing the thing the way that the other coach told us to, the right way, the way that I was shown. And she walks up to me and she's like, that's not how you do it. Like, I told you not to do that. And I said, oh, I think we got help from another coach and she said to do it this way. And she was like, what? And then I said, yeah, I think because we're just like a little bit confused because you gave us one way of doing it and literally every other coach in here, bitch, tells us to do it another way. And I didn't say that, but I said, like, I think we're a little confused because we're like, you know, told two different things to do it, how to do it. She literally says this. She's like, no, I have taught you one way to do it. It's the right way. You're not listening to me. I was like, yes, I am. But in my mind, or at, you know, what I was doing, I said, yes, coach, because at this time, she's screaming at me. She's literally screaming. She's like, I have told you one thing to do it. I know how to do it. I'm the coach. Like, I'm the coach. Like, you know, just going on a fucking rant, like drama queen 2.0. So in that moment, I was sitting there. I was like, yes, coach, yes, coach, yes, coach, because I'm not one to talk back to my coaches. Like I said, I've been in sports my entire life. I've been all my life. I know not to talk back to coaches, okay? So I said, yes, coach, yes, coach, yes, coach. She stops yelling at me, and literally the people behind me are like looking at me like, why did she yell at you? And I was like kind of down from that because obviously you don't get like getting yelled at. And so I get back to like my teammates and I'm like, oh, okay, like whatever. I was feeling kind of down at the time after that because I got yelled at, what the fuck? I just kind of got over it, and then a couple minutes later we all like got together as like the entire camp, kind of, and she literally walks up to me, taps me on the shoulder and goes, drop the attitude. What, bitch, where? And then this would happen all the time. Like, during this little camp thing, we would do one, like, she would tell us how to do one thing, one way, and then another coach would go up to us and correct it, like, oh, actually, you're doing this kind of wrong. And then she would be like, yeah, silly girl, like, why are you doing it that way? And I would just look at her, like, all of us would look at her and be like, because you told us to. Like, are you serious? Like, this bitch did not know what she was talking about. I can guarantee you that. I'm not a coach, so I'm not saying I'm better than her by any means, but she just did not know how to be a coach, and she was acting like a fucking teenager. So during this entire thing, we were working so hard as a team in this camp. We were having so much fun, but it took a toll on us a lot. And so one of the girls, actually, Emma, she was getting really, really tired, so she started crying a lot, which I did not blame her. There were so many girls crying. I'm just not a very, like, emotional person. I'm a very, like, stolid person in my personality. So Emma started crying a lot because she got tired, and she was just like, you know, she got tired. She was hungry, she's tired, she's, you know, literally exhausted from the camp. So she started crying a lot, and every single time that she would start crying, coach would get mad at me. And I don't fucking know why she hated me so much, but she did. Oh my god, girl, let me tell you, she hated me so much, yo. So then when Emma started crying for the last time, coach got so fucking rude and mean and just like bitchy that I was like, I cannot handle this anymore. So I said to her, I'm like, excuse me, coach, I do not feel well. I need to sit down for a minute. I need to call my mom. And I was so fucking mad. I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, literally pick me up from this fucking camp. My coach is crazy. She's yelling at me the entire time. Let me go home. But then I came to my senses and I was like, okay, I need to fight through this. I can do this, whatever. Like, I'm just probably overreacting. I thought that she had just been like this rude and mean to me because she hated me and me only. But apparently she hated another girl on the team, which, you know, very oddly enough was like one of my closest friends, and it still is one of my closest friends. So I have evidence here from another girl on my team, which I'm not gonna say, but shout out to you, girl. I fucking love you. You know who you are. She texted me this because I told her, hey, do you want to be in the crazy coach video? And she's like, hell yeah, I have so many fucking stories. So this girl and I, she had some experience and I have experience in this sport. So we knew kind of what we were doing. So coach was like, she hated us both. So this is what she said. At camp, she asked me why I fell, and I told her about how exhausted I was, and she screamed at me to go take a break. I remember that because she said, then go sit the fuck down, literally what she said. Okay, very, very much fun, thank you. So I did, and I started crying, and she brought me into the hallway and told me that I was her favorite on the team, and she liked me way more than anyone else. Then a week later, me and Emma were talking, and Emma was like, yeah, she told me not to tell anyone, but I'm her favorite on the team. And so that's just, why do you do that, is my question. And one time for the assembly, she had me do something, and it hurt like a bitch, and like I was in tears, and she said, okay, 50 more times, but it was my first time ever doing it, and it really hurt, and she wouldn't let me like prepare for it or anything. And she also tells me that she then, after the season, because this girl that I'm talking about, she quit after the season, which I'm gonna get into that, but I quit too. And when this girl quit, Coach blocked her on Facebook and her mom. And she did the same for me. She blocked me and my mom on Facebook. Like, are you in middle school? So that's kind of like the general thing. I don't know if I'm telling this story well at all, but this just played out over so many months. So this is the finale of what's happening. So after all of this, I go home from camp and I text Coach and I said, hey, listen, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I think I'm gonna have to quit because figure skating is getting in the way, and you know, I have too little time, and I'm so sorry, I'm getting so stressed out. Like, I'm gonna compete in figure skating in a couple months. Like, I don't really have any time. But I was lying because I didn't want to tell her that she's a fucking psychopath. So basically, I told her that I was quitting because I didn't have time and whatever, like all of that stuff. Because I didn't want to be rude, obviously. But I was quitting because she was a fucking psychopath and I was not taking her shit. So she's like, okay, like, no, like, don't even worry about it. Like, it's okay, Sasha. Like, I understand you. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, good, so we're on good speaking terms. She's like, blocks me on Facebook, blocks my mom on Facebook, doesn't talk to me at all. Then she goes to our team after I quit. She goes, yeah, Sasha quit, as you all know. And I was not there, obviously, because I quit, but I heard this from my best friend who was in there and, like, 3 other girls that was in this fucking, you know, my team. She sits down and she says this. Yeah, as you may know, Sasha quit the team. And I don't know if this is only me, but I am so happy Sasha quit. Does anyone agree with me? Bitch, where? Where the fuck? Why the fuck do you say that? And everyone's like, okay. So when she said that, I was like, okay, girl, like, do your thing, like, have fun, like, happy birthday. And then... So she basically talks so much shit about me, and now she won't even say hi to me. Like, well, I mean, after this video, she's gonna literally, like, stand outside my house in the middle of the night with, like, threats. No, I'm kidding. No, she's really gonna hate me after this video, but she already does. Because I asked one of the teammates that I was at, I'm like, Coach is gonna hate me after I post this video. She's like, TBH, she already does, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so that was the story of me getting shit talked by my coach. That had so much prejudice about me already from the beginning. Like, I get it if you watch my videos, and I have so many people that hate me, but with a coach, like, just get to know me. It's not like I sit and talk about, like, oh my god, my YouTube. Like, no, I don't do that. And so for her to just be, like, hating on me since day one, and then, like, being such a two-faced little cunt, her being so hypocritical, telling me, like, oh my god, Sasha, you're doing so good, and they'd be like, oh my god, Sasha's bragging so much about how she's doing her thing or whatever. I'm like, you are literally the one asking me to show the group how to do certain things, and you're literally, you know, things like that. So the entire thing about her was just off, and I would even notice when we were in the car, she would talk shit about other teammates. So it's not just me, she would literally talk shit about, like, other girls on the team, and I would sit there in the back of her car being like, why are you telling me this? Like, why are you talking shit about other girls? So it doesn't surprise me, and I'm, like, not even the slightest, like, giving her the benefit of the doubt that it might be, like, interrupted wrongly. Like, no, it doesn't even, like, surprise me that she talked shit about me, because the things that I've heard she said about other things, and the way that she made Emma be such a bitch. Like, she made Emma act and do things to us, like her friends, that she wouldn't do. And it just, you know, the entire thing was like, no, fuck no. So I quit. So that was the story of me getting shit talked about from my coach. When you're an adult but you act like a teenager. This video is actually not supposed to be really mad, but it is because it makes me really fucking mad because sports are very close to my heart, as many of you know. And this just made me really fucking mad. And so I wanted to tell it on YouTube. So if you want more story times, I have a lot more coming. I want to make this channel into kind of a story time little more channel. So if you want more, then give it a thumbs up. I have turned the comments off. I will probably make a video about that, but my Instagram is down below if you want to follow it. I update every single goddamn day. Not really. And subscribe if you want more story times. I feel like such a fucking YouTuber when I say that. I hate myself. But anyway, I love you so much. And don't take anyone's shit. Quit the fucking team if your coach is being shitty to you and acts like a teenager. Quit the fucking team. You're better than that. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
Prima donna girl.